Good morning. It's turned out nice again. Hey, how's it going, guys? You all right? Well, I'm back. I'm back here in Spain in my little Spanish kitchen. I was in England for a few days. Someone very near and dear to me lost their father unexpectedly earlier this month. Good start to the new year. And so I went over there to support them. Not much you can do in that situation but listen and talk from your own experiences and things like that. So I went to, I don't know, do a good deed if you like. Going back in 2 weeks for the funeral. I'm not going to the funeral. Didn't know the gentleman that passed away. But again, I'm going to support. So it's not been the most cheerful of days. But there you go. We've all been there, haven't we, guys? We've all been there. So even more depressing is the fact it's transfer deadline day today. And I don't know, I might be streaming today. I don't know. I've not gone to my office yet. I've literally came back into Spain early evening yesterday, maybe. Just chilled a little bit. I hadn't touched my case and things yet. Just had good night's kip and got up, made a cup of tea, and wanted to speak to you guys. And after I've had this, I'm going to go down to my office and see what's what. So I made a couple of videos while I was away that you guys seem to like. And I think the last video was kind of about, supporters group, Spirit of Shankly, that kind of thing. And Spirit of Shankly recently put out this statement, saying a joint statement with Manchester United, a Manchester United supporters group. I can't remember the name of it, but anyway, that's irrelevant. And a lot of Liverpool fans were not very happy about that. You don't speak for me, kind of thing. And can't believe you working with them, kind of thing. The enemy, so to speak. And was it called MUST? Manchester United Supporters Trust, something like that. I can't remember. I don't care. And I give my opinion on it all. And in that video, I kind of said that Spirit of Shankly, they don't represent all supporters. They don't represent all the local supporters. I think a lot of overseas fans or out of town fans think that Spirit of Shankly is like, oh, that's the supporters bit. Local. That's all the Scousers kind of. Everyone is in that if they're from Liverpool, kind of thing. And I pointed out that's not the case. And in fact, there's been a lot of messages come to me in comments since that video saying, look, I'm from Liverpool, born and bred. I've lived there all my life, and nothing to do with them. That I don't want to be. So that's the point I was trying to say was, whether this group, whether you agree with what they do or disagree with what they do, I was trying to explain, don't feel like they are just, the attitudes or the people that maybe align themselves with that group and similar, don't feel like that speaks for everybody from the city, kind of thing. I don't have a problem with that supporters group. I don't have a problem with anybody. But I think sometimes I know what it feels like to be on the outside. Because in the 25 years that I've run KopTalk, I've always been a lone wolf. I've wanted to do things my own way. I've wanted to be truly independent. And not being from Liverpool has certainly helped that. Because there's a lot of people, associated to those groups, if you like, and in some of these groups or in some of these content creators, organisations or whatever, that don't have any time for me, especially because I'm not from Liverpool. Now, what I said about Spirit of Shankly was, whether it's their intentions or not, and I'm sure that they say that they represent all fans, anyone in the world is welcome to join. But I said it gives off the way they conduct themselves, the way that it just feels like, I think I said in that video, I would never go along to one of their meetings, even though I've been in Spirit of Shankly twice, once through the George Gillette, Tom Hicks days, and once during this European Super League drama, because I thought each time my little contribution membership might help them for everybody, I might even still be in that organisation, I have no idea. It's not something that I would particularly want to be involved with, because like I say, it's not because I'd have a problem with these groups, I just don't think that you need to be a part of anything. Maybe that's a contradiction, because I guess I felt like I needed to be. No, I didn't feel like I needed to be a part of it, even during those dramas. I just thought maybe my membership fee or whatever might help somewhere along the line. I thought it was a positive thing to do. And I'm sure that these groups, Spirit Shankly, do a lot for the supporters base. And I've seen examples of that since the drama's come out, people listing all the things they've done. But I will always say that there does seem to be an emphasis. It's more about, it's just how it comes across, that group in particular comes across as looking out for them. Do you know what I mean? But we've gone over all of this. So, and in that video, or one of those videos, or two of those videos, whatever, I was trying to say, like, I couldn't imagine ever going to any of those meetings because they'd be like, I would probably get, like, so much aggravation and stuff, like, because I'm not from the city. And I think those groups attract a particular type of person, if I'm completely honest with you. That doesn't mean they're a bad type or anything like that. Just a particular type of person. And so all that drama came up, like Spirit of Shankly have issued a joint statement with Manchester United supporters group, and a lot of Liverpool fans are saying, why are you even, putting yourself alongside these people that are making chants about Hillsborough and things like that. And we know that all supporters, football clubs have supporters. Some of them, disgrace the team, the club. So yes, there are Manchester United supporters that have done that, and the Liverpool supporters that have done the Munich Chants and things like that. So Liverpool fans are saying, why are you with these people, and you don't speak for us, so to speak. So we had our own little, not we, but the Liverpool fan base, especially in the last few days, last week or so, all had an opinion about Spirit Shankly, basically. And I saw last night that another Manchester United supporters group called the 1958 group, maybe. Check Facebook and Twitter, the KopTalk usernames, twitter.com/KopTalk, same with Facebook. Because, I retweeted it or put it out or whatever. And this particular Manchester United supporters group is saying to the other Manchester United supporters group that issued a joint statement, like, whoa, hang on a minute, why are you, putting statements out with them, scousers and all that? Why are you doing that? You're not consulting with us, so you don't represent our entire voice. The same sort of thing that Liverpool fans have been saying about Spirit Shankly, their fans were saying as well about them. And then, they put an example, they linked to a video which appears to be a Spirit of Shankly gig or something, or do, from about 10 years ago, I think. I will include the video description. Not the video description, I will include the link in the video description below. Go and look for it. Go and look at it yourself. And, basically the backdrop to this thing is this huge Spirit of Shankly thing, and it's just like people at that, including the person it would appear on stage, to be chanting Munich, 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 which I can't believe I've never seen that video. I mean, how has that gone under the radar? I haven't looked, when I will be looking today, to see if Spirit of Shankly ever responded to that situation, because if I'd have known back then about that, there's no in a million years that I would have joined Spirit of Shankly, because whether they are responsible for that or not, I don't know. It's how it looks, and this is what I was saying about in my other video. This is how it looks. So Spirit of Shankly convey a particular image, which might be the wrong one, but I'm just trying to tell them this is how you come across, whether it's intentional or not. And basically, they're all up in arms. And when you read the comments by these Manchester United fans, having now seen that video of Liverpool fans at a Spirit of Shankly gig, they have every right to be disgusted with us. And it is us, whether we... if you comment on there, you're one of them. You're deemed, you're thrown in, you're that, you represent, you're a Liverpool fan, so you must behave like that. And, we see them, there's been the same thing's been going on in the other direction. Liverpool fans criticising Man United fans recently, yeah, but you're chanting about it. It's awful. It's awful. And it's so nasty. It's so nasty. For me, I like the rivalry with Manchester United. I have a great amount of respect for that club. Right, no doubt about it. You know, there's a lad on Twitter, Man United Talk. I think he's a great kid. I've never met him in my life. You know, I love to see what he's got to say about his club. I like to see what he thinks about our club, because you can often work out how well your club's doing by the way other fans talk about you and stuff. I've never met him, and he's a great kid, and we've got a lot of respect for each other. You know, he wants us to be terrible, and I want them to be terrible. And on, you know, when we play each other, we don't talk to each other for 24 hours, and we don't, you know, take the mickey. I'm trying not to swear. We don't take the mickey out of each other after a result. If it, you know, like if we beat them, I don't like taunt him or anything, because what's the point? You know, at some point it's going to come back and the same thing. So we don't do that. It's respect, right? And but reading some of them comments, man, you know, they're like, it's scary. I think, guys, you know what I mean? There's so much. It's some real vicious stuff out there, really, between them two clubs. And rather than them two supporters organisations coming out and speaking for all the Liverpool fans and all the Man United fans about, you know, the nasty people that might take over their clubs, would it be better if they came together and said, right, before we ever campaign for anything ever again, anything, right, this shit stops. Like this chanting, you are not a part of our club. If you know, or our fan base, if you will be disowned. And that's putting it politely. So that's the kind of joint statements I want to see from these supporters groups. So before you start like patronising and telling us who can own the club and who can't, and you might have the best intentions, you know, I'm sure that they don't just mean people from that other part of the world that don't look like us and stuff like that. I'm sure they mean even, you know, bad American owners or whatever. But before you start telling us, you know, and making demands to governments and whoever you want, issue a statement together or get around a table together and go, right, and before we proceed, I'm going to tell you right now, we're not having you chanting about Hillsborough and you chanting about Munich. Grow up, you're naught to do with us. Have you seen that? You might have seen the odd, you know, statement here and there scattered around, but I tell you what, it hasn't caused a big talking point because it's not taken seriously. Sit down at a table in all your colours, side by side, right, and say, you know what, we hate each other, right, fair enough. But it's a respect thing. It's a respect thing. Because when you hate someone, you know, usually it's because they're good or something, you know what I mean? So when it comes to sport, like, a lot of people hate Ronaldo, for example, Cristiano Ronaldo. Because he's arrogant, but usually the best in the world are arrogant, you know? Messi, for me, it's just saying. You hear hot dogs out there, that's because it's red hot. So the dogs tend to live outside over here. Anyway, it's like Battersea dog home. So that I'd rather see that, mate. You know what I mean? I'd rather see these organisations saying that we've got to stop this. Anyway, the priorities all seem completely wrong. Because I can't help but think these supporters organisations are more bothered about what affects them personally. That's what I think. And it the wrong image is projected. So we had this, you know, there was this big drama the other day with Spirit of Shankly and all that about this joint statement. Now the Man United fans are at it. They don't want to be linked to us because of this video. You please go and have a look at the video. I think you should look at that video. If you're going to do anything today, do check the video description and look at that video and you'll understand why. Anyway, so Spirit of Shankly, a few days back, it'll be last week now, won't it? They put a tweet out saying, because we, you know, have patience with a record number of applications or something like that, people wanting to join us, must have been because we were trending. So like a little bit of baiting really, you know, trending on Twitter, because everyone was talking about Spirit of Shankly. And you know, that is inflammatory straight away. That's inciting because people are replying to that. If you look at it, saying, hang on a minute, you weren't trending for right reasons. You were trending because the majority of the fan base is against what you're saying at the moment. But they were like, oh, I reckon, you know, we were trending, like, you know, so we're only part-time, not part-time, we're only volunteers, so give us time, you know. So that's fine. But to me, all right, it just looked a bit like baiting a little bit. Do you know what I mean? So, the attitude that they've got at the moment is if you're on Twitter, right, you're a Liverpool fan, your view's irrelevant, right? Or social media, whatever you want to call it. And yes, we do know there are times when people not from Liverpool and from overseas, whatever, maybe say things that isn't really the Liverpool way because they're not really from there, or maybe not even from England, you know. But rather than attacking them people, we should educate them people a little bit. Say, well, that's not what we do. You know, like, we don't boo the team off when they lose, even during crises. You'll get it over clubs. We don't really have, if you ain't booing at Anfield, something's seriously going on. If there's a protest at Anfield, there's something seriously going on. And that's usually if it's ticket prices or something that affects them. Right? So, but to turn around, you know, like to give off the impression that your view is irrelevant if you are overseas or on Twitter is extremely insulting, because, you know, I don't go to the games now through choice, all right? Season ticket holder since the 90s, shareholder before we were forced to sell shares in Liverpool Football Club. I've done everything that is possible in terms of supporting the club, and I use social media. So if I was going today to the games, right, which I can go anytime I want to go, but I just don't love the top flight game as much as I used to, and I think that there's more important things as I've got older that I would rather put my money to than millionaire footballers and billionaire owners. All right, but it doesn't mean that I don't care anymore. I produce my content for the people that do care, and I care more about you guys enjoying success. That's it, right? Transparency, completely honest. I'm never going to turn around to you and go, oh, I'm devastated that we lost today. Do you know what I mean? I'm not like that anymore. One time, yes, but I'm not. So I've just changed my outlook on life as I've got older. And I would be deeply insulted if someone said, well, you know, you don't go to the game. Or you, I mean, you see, people that go to the game, they see different things to what you see on television. That's all it is, all right? So the cameras are following the action. Off the ball at the stadium, you can see things happening off the ball, right? But then you can flip it round, because when you're watching on television, you've got loads of cameras and replays and everything that they can't see in the stadium. So that's why sometimes people, you know, maybe have different views on things. But there is no, you know, all them years that I went to Anfield as a season ticket holder and since a young boy, that didn't give me any more knowledge or right to have a say in anything. It just didn't. Maybe it gives me a right to have a grievance or a say about, you know, how I'm processing to the stadium or my match day experience there. But any of those people in that stadium have no more, you know, rank of importance than someone sat watching, you know, Liverpool in Australia or something like that. So going back to the I'm probably all over if I apologise if I am, but going back to the Twitter thing, so they're putting out, oh, we've had record number of applications, it must be something. I don't like to quote people, I'm very specific with my words, you'd have to go and look at the tweet. But it was along those lines as like, because we were trending, we've had loads of people want to sign up. And maybe that's true, you know? But then, all right, they retweeted a tweet from someone that said, keep up the good work, you know, words to that effect, keep up the good work. You know, us match day going Reds or whatever, you know, basically, you know, it was basically along the lines of, you know, the match day going Reds know that what's right and what's wrong. It was along those lines. They're not the exact words that were used, but it was that kind of spirit, right? So this person's basically saying, ignore all these divs on here, which is fine, you know, that's good. And I'm sure there's a lot of kids, you know, on Twitter and stuff like that. I think, you know, if they're at the ground, someone would probably give a little, hey, you know what I mean, right? But Spirit of Shankly retweeted it and said, you know, I'm glad you know, yeah, exactly, you know, sort of thing, like in agreement with it. There was a comment with it as well. You know, thanks for that, yeah, appreciate that. But they retweeted something that basically backs up what they must believe of, you know, only match day going Reds. That's all it matters. It was that. And it's that vibe that I was saying in that video prior to that tweet that they give off. And it's just not very helpful. Now you see, I would have retweeted that and got, yeah, thanks for the support, you know, everything. But, you know, we do have the white, you know, we do take into, you know what I mean? Like, make it sound right. So immediately you retweet that and you're inciting that part of the fan base again. I mean, it's not rocket science, is it? And I just thought that worked very helpful. At a time when a part of the fan base feels alienated and excluded because you're throwing them all into, well, you don't go to games or you're not from here or whatever. At a time when it's like that, you don't speak for us, you should be, sorry, I've got messages flashing up on my phone and it is transfer deadline day. Let me just disable those if you don't mind. I'll just turn that off. At a time when there's this divide, when people are saying, well, let's be honest, out-of-town supporters, people not from Liverpool, people maybe not even from Merseyside, not even from England, not even from the UK, not even from Europe, wherever, people that are on the outside, they don't want to feel even like they're there. Why would you do that to someone? You can't turn around and say everybody that's on Twitter is not representative of match day going fans. Well, I guess it's true. What I mean is you can't put people in these things. I know loads of Scousers that use Twitter, but according to Spirit of Shankly, they don't come into it because everyone on Twitter is overreactive, doesn't understand, blah, blah, blah. Does that make sense? Everyone on Twitter isn't, doesn't speak for me, doesn't speak for you. We've all got all these different opinions, but everyone that's local support doesn't have, you can't put people in these things. Is what I'm trying to say. I don't think I'm doing a very good job of explaining it, but I think you get the point that I'm trying to make. I just don't think it's helpful. I just don't think it's helpful, guys. You know what I mean? So, here's a really good idea. You get accused of not taking my feelings into account because I'm not from where you are, and instead of reassuring me or saying, actually, that's not right. Well, of course we respect your views and that, or we want you to be inclusive or whatever. Instead of doing that, you're basically going, right, exactly, and it's just not right. It's not right. That's all I've got to say about it, I think. Basically, everything I said in that video as to how they portray themselves is... They proved it straight away after that video. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go and look at their account on Twitter. Or you can trust me, I don't have any problem with that organisation. I don't have a problem with anybody or anything. But I am very, I want everyone to be inclusive and that. And I'm not one of these, flip-flop wearing, tree, hugging, candle burning, lovies. Do you know what I mean? To most responses, I would say, oh, man, man up. Get a grip. Because we're in a society now that people are like, oh, you've offended me. No, but come on. If you're a supporters organisation claiming to represent everyone, you can't just say, well, anyone in the world can join. We've got members from all over the world. Yes, that's factual. Yes, right. But if you're then retweeting stuff that makes them feel like they don't have a viewpoint, what's the point? It just doesn't make sense. Would you agree with me? It's just inciting more drama. It's just inciting more drama, more problems to a bigger situation, a bigger problem. And what's happening with this situation at the moment, to do with the ownership and stuff like that, is the divide between local support, right, versus out-of-town support is getting wider and wider and wider. But again, you've only got to look at the comments on my videos or on Twitter and things, and you will see loads of people from Liverpool that'll say, they don't represent me, on my view. You're very welcome in my city, so please never feel excluded. Ever feel excluded. Transfer deadline day, and that's what we're talking about. And it's all caused, brought on by the ownership drama and situation. And, for me, I just wish that they could all get... I mean, this is why, guys, I don't get involved usually in this kind of stuff. Because I just find it's just, I don't know, it's very cliquey, it's very childish, and I understand, why some of those people, that type, are like they are, and I understand that they get annoyed by people that are not from Liverpool, that don't understand the values of the club, but rather than inciting and retweeting stuff that basically says, well, your viewpoint, you're online and you're not here, it's irrelevant, rather than endorsing that. Try and make it right. Just come across right. Do you know what I mean? And that video, I have no idea, or I've never seen that video, because it's truly shocking. And I'm not quite sure how you erase that. I mean, that's there. And unfortunately, there's a lot of Liverpool fans that have only just seen that video because of this ongoing little thing that's going on. But unfortunately, there's a lot of new or younger Manchester United supporters that are seeing that video now, even if it's 10 years old or whatever, and now think that that's what all Liverpool supporters are like. So instead of issuing joint statements, making demands about who can and can't own your football club and all and stuff like that, start issuing joint statements a little bit more powerfully, more powerful about what is and isn't acceptable to the supporters of both clubs. Not just little statements saying we don't agree with this or that, just absolutely, if you are caught up in any of that, you will be disowned by our group and by every Manchester United supporter. We will disown you if you are chanting songs of Hillsborough, and every Liverpool supporter, if you were so much as utter the word Munich in a derogatory way, in a hateful, baiting, awful way, we want nothing to do with you. That is how you should be coming together. And that statement should apply to whether you're local or from away. Those are the statements I want to see right now. Because there's clearly this ongoing thing, this ongoing hatred, which is a minority of both clubs, I'm sure. It does happen, and those are the kind of statements that I want to see supporters groups issuing, working together on, rather than being more upset about some guy buying the club, from another part of the world that maybe doesn't look like me and you.